Hi, ladies and gentlemen. You are watching and listening to another edition of Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media. All of our channels and networks. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is,
I'm Eric Zandona in Florida's Emerald Coast.
and Eric and I have the distinct pleasure of tasting no alcohol today. We're
Woo!
we're we're yeah, it's no alcohol. It's no alcohol Monday for us. Uh,
Yeah.
and not only
Oh,
that,
we just missed dry January. We should have done this in
I know,
January.
right? Well, we're catching up to dry January, so there we
Yeah.
are. This is early February, so that's when you're seeing this. This
Yeah.
is You and I have done the Aqara. This is the
Yep.
the Peruvian agave spirit from the Andes that
Yep.
is up in distilled way up there in the Andes with a
Oh, yeah.
particular agave, and we loved it. I mean, it was spectacular. It was totally different than anything he and I have ever had.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this is also known as Caras, Peru, and it's 100% agave, sin alcohol, without
Mm-hmm.
alcohol, boys and girls. Um, Cocinado en horno de barro. So it is a, stone oven, yeah, stone oven. Um,
Yeah.
that, that's how it's cooked.
And
And
they have 2,256 meters. It's probably above sea level or some acronym.
yes,
So way up there.
it's agave americana y cordienses, uh, agua, ají amarillo, capsaicum. Oh, Bacartum, variety pendulum. They give us the Latin version of this. Y ricotta serrana capsaicin pubensis. So capsaicin is peppers.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Is this distilled with peppers? Because
I
it's
don't
all
know.
it's
We'll
all in
see.
Spanish, so I'm just
Yeah.
translating here. The version of this is called refugio, which is refuge, and that's
Yeah.
the word.
So I can make out on the back, my very limited Spanish, that refugio is evocative of the mountains in the Andes. And with notes of something, that word I don't know. And it has a the savor, the flavor of wild agaves, and you can use it in the cocktails of your preference.
Yes,
So there we go.
very well done. And it gives you the calorie count and the protein count and all that stuff.
Hmm.
I wonder if their labeling is different in Peru because I've never seen labeling like this on liquor. I mean, this is the kind of
Yeah.
transparency everybody wants. And
Well, this is coming. Actually, right now, the alcohol regulators, TTB, are
uh-huh.
has a open public comment period about nutrition information on liquor labels. So it's in the works. It's coming. It's been on
Now
hold for
remember,
a
but
while.
this is for alcohol, and this is
Yeah,
non-alcoholic.
right. And that's why they have it because it's NA.
Okay. Now,
So
the information that I'm reading here in Spanish, if I'm reading this correctly, capsaicum or capsicum. Maybe I'm pronouncing it correctly. It's not capsaicin, so it's capsicum. So this looks like a blend of different agave.
yeah,
Okay. Well, hell, there's only one way to find out. Let's open this.
we got to taste it.
We
Yeah,
gotta
I'm
taste it
excited.
because now I'm intrigued, and I broke the seal on this sucker right before we got.
Yep.
Oh, I was right. I was right.
Ooh.
There's some
Yeah,
pepper
yeah,
in here.
yeah, yeah. It's
Why
like smoked
why is it
pepper.
spelled capsicum? Because it's capsaicin, isn't it?
Well, I think that's the name for I think the molecule that makes things hot, but the
Right.
Latin like genus name I think is Capsaicum. So it's slightly different. they're related, but that's what I think is that's what I think
Neither
it is.
one of us are scientists, nor do we speak Latin because it was a
No.
written language. That's all I know about it. And but I mean, the Latin languages are all French, Italian, and Spanish, but
Right.
do they sound the same? No. Um, okay, I'm gonna pour mine in my Stazo Jarrito that I normally use for mezcal, for high proof mezcal, and for lack of having any kind of bar for this, I will say that that nose was very intriguing.
Yeah.
I thought there was pepper in there because it sure
Yeah, yeah.
smelled like it.
So initially I got a hint of like almost smoked paprika. Paprika's a pepper.
Right.
So it's not quite that, but it's in the ballpark.
Now it is smoked, and they are saying that they bake these in stone ovens,
Hmm.
and that it is, as Eric explained in his broken English, uh, that it is evocative of some smoke, but it's not really smoke. It's resembles smoke, but I don't think this is smoke, dude. I think it's whatever they're mixing in there. They're blending with the
Hmm.
other herbs and spices. I don't know. It's like, can I make fried chicken with this? I don't know. It's really interesting nose though. I love it.
To me, there is a wood smoke element that
Yes.
I'm getting. Who knows where if it is wood smoke, if it's coming from some other source, but yeah, there is a definite like pepper, wood smoke.
And it's opened
Again,
up too. So there's no
yeah, and
telling what else is going to be on there.
yeah, nothing I would say like I've had before. So it's not like charred poblanos or something else like that that you might have in standard Mexican cooking. So in that way, it's interesting because it's like very Peruvian. And
Yes.
so that's a
Well,
that's a fun little insight.
Well, you and I have had, like as I said earlier, I love throwing the kitchen sink at Eric because his palate's so wide. But you and I have had destilados before they became so popular, and they
Right.
were like, one distillation destilados, that were from only one region, and it was like, man, this is some crazy stuff, and
Yeah.
just and high proof also.
Yeah.
So we've never had a
Right.
non-alcoholic thing that smelled like this. So.
Yeah.
You want to dive in? You
Yeah, I
ready?
do. Yeah.
Okay, here we go.
Out of habit, I spit it out.
Mhm.
Even though it's no alcohol.
It's savory.
It is. Yeah. So definitely has that flavor of like smoked or roasted peppers continues on the palate. The smoke element definitely lingers there. Very strong of like wood smoke.
Yes.
Um, and
And the
typical,
aftertaste, it lingers in your on your palate too.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So I would say very typical of other non-alcoholic spirits that I've had before. It's very thin on the palate because alcohol, people don't think about it, but alcohol actually has a pretty substantial weight to
Yes.
it on your tongue. So this doesn't have any of that. And so one of the tricks that I actually heard from a brand of how to kind of better enjoy things like this is you can either kind of like um chill your whatever ingredients that you're going to use with this, whether when you're making a cocktail,
Hmm.
make sure those are fully chilled before you add them. You want your glass to be super cold because you don't want to add any additional dilution when you're using something like this beyond your other ingredients. Because like when you're mixing a cocktail with ice, with standard alcohol, you want that extra dilution to balance the flavors out. But with these sorts of things, if you start diluting it with ice before you start drinking it, it can really kind of wash out the flavors. Now, the smoke
Yeah.
flavor is going to carry through. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of put that out there because drinking this neat is not really the target mark. Like this is, I don't think this is the way it's meant to be consumed.
No, no. There's no legs and tears. Virtually, it's like
Yeah,
drinking water. It just
yeah,
sheets right off the glass.
yeah,
Um, but that smoke and that whatever herbs or spices that those are, I'd have to, punch those into Google Translate to tell me what the hell it is.
yeah,
If is it an herb? Is it a spice? I think it's a spice, Eric, because just of the way it hit my palate. But that
yeah.
smoke carries through completely.
Hmm.
Um, I don't know what to make of this. What do you make of it? I mean, you've had more of these than I had. We've had one
Yeah.
non-alcoholic mezcal substitution.
Mm,
Was not a fan of it. I could see where there's a market for it because I mean the
yeah.
non-alcoholic market was just opening up, and there weren't that many producers making anything, that was a substitute like that. So we opened up a category, but it wasn't my favorite. It wasn't something that I was going to
Hmm.
go. I'm not going to go looking for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What do you
So
think?
for me, like these sorts of products are not really for me. Like I like the weight of alcohol. That's part of in like it part of the whole like package of enjoyment, sensory enjoyment that you get out of drinking spirits, in my opinion. So, like, yeah, I could see like in the hands of a skilled bartender, they could definitely use this well, this flavor, and to add as either a primary ingredient to make a zero or low ABV cocktail, or maybe you throw it in as just like a side ingredient to just boost up that flavor. I totally think that that's possible on its own, which is like neat is how I drink most of my spirits. Just it's to me the smoke character is a little bit too intense because there's no other elements to really round out, right? It says it's distilled from agave, but I'm not getting any agave
Yeah, me neither.
character.
And it's just there's a lot of fibrousness. There's a lot of, it
Mm.
smells like I'm smelling the inside of a wet box. You know,
Yeah,
like if when you get leakage from a mezcal, you can
right.
smell the
Oh yeah, yeah,
lingering
yeah,
alcohol. Yeah, that's
right.
what it smells like, only with no alcohol. Because see, the alcohol too, if it's properly distilled, the alcohol presents the rest of the aromas
Right.
up to your nose, and there's nothing doing that. It's just
Yeah.
sitting there, and it's so technically there's nothing going up your retronasal unless you do it on purpose. And secondly, it just lays on your palate, and it's very one-sided, one-dimensional,
Yeah.
whatever the
So that and
outstanding, characteristic is.
yeah, so that's where so for me it's a little bit challenging to say like okay, in the world of zero ABV spirit substitutes, whatever you want to call them. Yeah, I think it's well made. So in that realm, that very narrow box, I could say brand of promise nominee.
Very narrow
But
white wet box. Yes.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But
No. Yeah.
otherwise, like it's a little bit hard because like you have to, I think you would have to say, for your average fan of agave spirits or even mezcal, it's not going to be what you want. But if you're already in that realm of like, I want to know no ABV, I like smoke, I want to use this in mixed drinks, then there's a use for it. There's a reason for it. So,
You can even put it like in your barbecue sauce. You know what I mean?
hmm.
I mean, you could cook with it. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah,
I would say you could probably saute in it, cook with it. There's lots of ways you can use it. It's not you really have to acquire a taste for it because the more I it gets on my palate, the more I taste more of the plant.
yeah.
And these plants, they're fibrous, they're stressed, they're shredded. You get it. I'm not sure how they're fermenting, if they're fermenting with fibers or not, but it sure tastes like it is. But
Hmm.
if you were to just sip this, you'd be just well. If you've had their original line, you'd be really disappointed because it's nothing like their original.
Yeah. And even their smoked version, I don't remember if we had that together or if it was, or if we had it separately. They have a smoked version of their standard agave spirit.
I don't think we've had
And
that
even
one.
and that flavor is totally different from this one. So I'm a little bit curious about how this is different, how they made it. But yeah, I would say if you're in that realm, you need to like smoke. If you're in that realm for no ABV and you want smoke, then this is for you.
Yeah, but I mean, the more you get into it, the more it tastes like cabbage or rhubarb or something stalky. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah.
Maybe it'd be good note like a. You're right. It's going to have to go in a mixed drink, like a Bloody Mary, or
Yeah,
something like that.
I just thought of that.
And I was thinking too, maybe add a little smoke to your sangrita. If you're into sangritas, for tequilas
Hmm.
and stuff like that, this would be a good. For me, I don't make sangrita. I have a couple of recipes. I don't know if you have or not, but for me, it's like spicy V8, and that's a lazy man's sangrita. But
Yeah.
you can add some of this, and you get a little bit of smoke on it, and it's like, and honestly, a good sangrita, I could sip on that all day long. I would sip
Yeah,
on
yeah,
that
yeah.
more than anything
Well,
else.
because tomato juice has so much body, right?
Yeah.
So you're not going to notice, but you are going to get the flavor. The flavor will carry through.
Yes. Yes.
Um, do you think this would work with Clamato?
It could.
Yeah.
It could.
Because I'm not sure. It feels like it might be right on the border to clashing, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. Well, you know, um, I don't know. Maybe on the nose, but
Yeah.
because this nose is
But
going to carry through, no matter
oh
what.
yeah. But with like standard tomato juice for a margarita, I think this would, if you like that character and you don't want to add more booze to your drink, then yeah, something like this would actually
Yeah, you could
work
float this
nicely.
on top of even a paloma and get a smoky paloma. I mean, this
Hmm.
smoke will carry right through. It's like liquid
Yeah,
smoke.
yeah. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it's not the fusel smoke that you get in some mezcals that are
No.
really badly made, or they use like
Right.
rubber tires to heat
Right.
up
Right.
the agave.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah, I think in that category, it's brand of promise worthy. They opened up their category, and again, it's
Hmm.
not for us. But if you guys have had it, if you're watching us on YouTube or you're listening to us on a podcast and you've had it before, what are you doing with it? Give us a recipe because I want to
Yeah.
we're like spitballing here, but there's got to be somebody who's actually using this for and I haven't checked their website. I don't know if their website has any recipe suggestions or anything like that. I have not checked, but I will say that this is I think it's a really good example of what their plant tastes like itself, the plant itself, because it is
Yeah.
very, very fibrous, very stocky plant-like. Um, and it I think it just the smoke borders on a little bit unfusel, but not to that point where it's just bad mezcal, okay? Because it's not. It evens out. But yeah, I mean, I'm with you. More power to these guys. That's our take. I think is Agave de Andes, and they have their own distillery and their own
Yeah.
bar up at the distillery. They do have a QR code here, so you can snap that in on the neck. And what was the price point you said you got on the?
So I just looked on Old Town Tequila real quickly. It's 38 bucks, basically.
That's not bad. I mean,
Yeah.
it is a burgeoning market.
Yeah.
And it's definitely different. I will say
Hmm.
I would prefer this one over the original one that we had before from
Mm.
another maker. They were just launching in the UK and they sent the samples and it was much more it was like sauerkraut. It was like there was no mezcal. It was a mezcal substitute,
Uh-huh.
non-alcoholic. And this one, at least you get a sense of the plant. You're getting
Right.
that on your
For
palate.
sure.
So it's not just straight smoke. You are getting something. That's why I say a Bloody Mary, some sangrita, something a shrimp cocktail. There you go, right? And even clamato if you want to do it that way. So, uh, but, but that's our take. I'm Mike Morales here in Southern California. That gentleman out there is.
Eric Zandona in Florida's Emerald Coast.
You've been watching and listening to Sipping Off the Cuff on Tequila Aficionado Media, all of our channels and networks. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, give us a like, leave us a comment, tell us what you're doing, leave us an emoji for anything else. And whatever you do, folks, tomar sabiamente.
Sip wisely.